if he wanted to, he would. Like, for real, if he wanted to, he would. I want to emphasize that. If he or she or they wanted to, they would. If the answer is yes, go for it. But if the answer is no, please, please don't date for potential, because potential may never be realized. So hi everyone, I'm back. Okay, hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Reni. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I really do appreciate you for taking your time out of your busy day to watch this video. So again, if you are new here on my channel, I make content about financial literacy, career development, and lifestyle. I have been gone for a few months, and as many of you know, I was going through a breakup, but we back and we are better. And that was over like 6 months ago now. So I didn't take a full 6 months off. I took like 3 months off, I think. But now we are back and we are better. And I recently posted my I'm back life update video. And a lot of you were like, bet. You're talking about relationships. You're finally letting us into that part of your life. We want to know more. The amount of comments I got saying, please make some relationship type content. It was a lot. I'm like, you guys don't comment on my finance content like this. You don't comment on my travel content like this, but the relationships is what you want. The love. I know you guys love love. So I'm giving you this is an expression of my love to all of you. So the video we're going to do today, as you can tell by the title, is 5 lessons that I learned from my 5-year relationship. And if you are here to see me drag anybody, this is not the video. I'm not dragging anybody. I am not a messy person. I don't like beef. I don't like drama. So if you came to see me drag my ex-partner, this ain't the video. And there will never be a video like that from what I can, based on what I know of myself. I could change, but you know, based on what I know of myself, there will never be a video like that. I also feel like a lot of young women follow me. A lot of you are maybe in your like early 20s. I'm 26, so I feel like I'm your like big sister, and I have a few pieces of insight that I wish I had. I don't have a big sister, so there's no one to teach me these things, but hopefully I can act as your virtual big sister. So if you like this kind of content, and if you do want to see more relationship content, please comment below and give this video a like. Okay, so let's get into it. So I have this book here. This is one of my journals that I use, and I wrote a bunch of lessons that I learned from my relationship. I haven't planned this video out at all. I literally just wrote the 5 things that I'm going to talk about, but I didn't give any details. So if this is a little all over the place, you know, bear with me. And just to give you a little bit of context, this was a 5-year relationship, as you obviously know, and I started dating, I think I was 20 years old, and by the time we broke up, I was 25 years old. So like, that is a long time, and the person I was at age 20 is not the person that I was at age 25. So the first lesson that I learned that I would want to tell all of you is that meeting friends and family before you fall in love is so important. Like, I don't know how much I can emphasize this point. What I mean by this is that oftentimes, especially with Nigerians, I think, we typically don't introduce our partners to our parents until like we're ready to get engaged to our partner. And although I understand the premise of like, you don't want to be introducing just every single person you date to your partner, to your parents, I get it, but I think it also is problematic. And the reason I say this is because I, for example, had already been dating my partner for like a year, I think, maybe even longer. I don't remember, but a while before I ever introduced or even spoke about him to my parents. Like, I think one day I was just like, parents, I have a partner and I want to introduce you. And again, we'd already been dating for like so long before that. So my thing is that when that happens, your parents, your friends, whoever you haven't introduced them to, already, their opinion will not hold as much weight because you're already in love with them. So if I go on a few dates with someone, I introduce them to my friends, and then my friends are like, yo, Reni, look at what this guy, like, this guy is not it for you. I can easily be like, okay, cool. I've only been on a few dates. There's no like I haven't input too much in this relationship, it's cool to just cut that person off, right? But if you are with that person for a whole year and then you decide to go and introduce them to your parents and you're already in love with this person, you've already invested a whole year of your life into this person, it's going to be very, very, very hard for you to be like, yeah. So if you're, first of all, it'll be hard for your parents and your family to give you that honest, brutal honesty. And second of all, it would be hard for you to take that brutal honesty because it's like, okay, I'm already in love with this guy. I don't see any of those red flags that you're talking about. I just see what I want to see. And you know, they say love is blind. So love makes you a little, you can ignore the red flags. And again, I think it's important to introduce them. Maybe you don't want to introduce your partner to your family right away, fine. But if you introduce them to your close friends, people who you consider your confidants, and people who you can truly value their opinion and you know they have a good judgment, I would say do that before you ever fall in love. Again, your friends are able to recognize red flags that you may just overlook because you like this person. So yeah, my friends sometimes introduce me to guys and I'm like, babes, what are we doing here? This person is not it for you. But if they were already in love, I think I would probably still be like, yo, this man's not it for you. But it would be a little bit harder and I would have to word it in a way that wouldn't make my friend then look at me and be like, oh, you're a hater against my relationship, XYZ. So do it before you ever fall in love. That is my suggestion and one of the greatest lessons I learned. And you know, I am a very, just to bring it back to me, I'm a very, very, very stubborn person. Anybody who knows me knows I have coconut head, like anybody who knows me. That's the reason I quit my job. Like it's beneficial to me in a lot of ways, but it's also harmful to me in some ways. And in this relationship, I would say it's harmful that I was so stubborn because again, didn't introduce him for a very long time. And then when I actually told all my family and friends that we broke up, it was like nobody was really like that sad. And I'm like, yo, and then they would be like, yeah, I noticed XYZ, like this. And I'm like, you guys couldn't have told me when we're in the relationship that you noticed XYZ. Like, I'm not understanding. So, and I know the reason is because I was already in love and they know that my coconut head is not going to listen to them. So they might as well not raise or waste their breath trying to tell me that I see XYZ that's wrong with the relationship. So yeah, that is number one. That was my first lesson. The next lesson that I learned is that you should not date potential. Again, no shade to anybody. This is a general statement that I am using even as I'm just going on dates with different people. But you don't want to date someone based on where they will potentially get to in the future. While, okay, we're in university, we're dating, and I know that, okay, you're going to graduate, you're going to go to med school, you're going to become a doctor. So like, I can foresee your path going up in an upward trajectory. But I really think it's important to date somebody and you're dating them for who they are right now. You're not dating them for who they will become. Of course, you ideally want them to become whatever great person, great job, lots of money, great character, very spiritually sound, whatever you want. However, you have to be okay with the fact that they may never get to that point. And you have to ask yourself, am I okay if this potential is never realized? Will I be okay and will I be fulfilled and will be happy with this person if their quote unquote potential is not realized? If you will not be okay with it, probably should not be with that person. Like, you don't want to, because what if they never get to that point? What if you're dating someone and they are currently working a job that you don't think is ideal and it's maybe not someone you would typically date, but you like this person and you're like, and that person's telling you, okay, in 2 years, I'm going to be working towards a project management role and I'm going to get XYZ and I'm going to be, they're telling you all these things, which is good. But you have to be, if you're going to marry them or if you're going to get with them, you want to know that even if they stay at this job that they're at right now, will I be happy in this relationship? Will I be fulfilled in this relationship? Will I be willing to be with somebody like that? Okay, maybe job is a superficial thing, but like, say they are not spiritually sound and you are someone who is a Christian and spirituality is something that's really important to you, for example. If they say, okay, I'm working towards becoming saved, I'm working towards this, but right now this is where I am. Can you marry them? And even if they do not get to that place that is aligned with you spiritually, can you marry them? And will you be okay with them never achieving this quote unquote potential? If the answer is yes, go for it. But if the answer is no, please don't date for potential because potential may never be realized. So that is my lesson number 2, and I would say date people for who they are right now. Don't try to wish bigger dreams for them, try to make them be something that they're not, and try to and assume that they will become somebody that they're not. Assume that they will be who they are right now, and that it would be ideal if they get to that place, but if they don't, will you be okay with marrying them? If not, it's not the relationship for you, sis or bro or person, whoever's watching. Okay, that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3. So lesson number 3 is that individuality is key. Do not lose yourself trying to be in a relationship. So anybody who knows me knows that when I love, I live. I love hard. I love deep. I love, okay? Even with my friends, like when I love somebody, I really love them. So when I get in a relationship, typically I'm like all about that person. I like to be alone. So if you are someone I'm in a relationship with, that means like I like being with you more than my alone time. And that means I want to spend all my time with you. So at one point, my partner, ex-partner and I were spending 5 days, 6 days a week together. And you know, to me, it's not a big deal because I like being around you. However, you don't want to lose your individuality, because if I'm spending 6 days a week with you, when is the time for my family? When is the time for my friends outside of you? When is the time for my hobbies? All these different things. So I think it's very important that when you go into a relationship, you want to keep parts of you. You don't want to merge everything together before you guys get married, right? Because of course, when you get married, I know you probably have the same friends, a lot of the same hobbies, but I think it's especially when you're just dating, please keep things separate a little, like have your own thing. Again, I'm someone who loves being solo. I love being alone, but when I get into a relationship, I can be a mumu button pressed, and I am like, oh, I want to be under this person's skin. But I think it's very important to not lose your friends and your family and your individuality, the things you like to do, just because you're in a relationship. Once I got out of the relationship, a lot of my friends said, yes, we finally have Reni back. And honestly, wow, my voice just cracked. But honestly, yeah, that made me really sad to hear my friends say like, oh, we finally got our friend back, which shows that I was like pushing them away in order to focus on this. And a healthy relationship will allow you to be yourself and also thrive in this relationship. You don't have to give up yourself in order to thrive in a relationship. So that would be number 3. And if you can relate to any of these lessons, please leave them down below. And if you recently went through a breakup, or if you've gone through a breakup in the past, feel free to leave some lessons that you learned from your breakup, because I honestly think it will help a lot of people, and a lot of young people who are watching this, before y'all get into relationships, please listen to our advice. It's so much. I always tell people that you need a mentor in life. And just like this, of course, I'm not your dating mentor. I don't want to be anybody's dating mentor. But if I can make the mistakes so that you don't have to, that's good for you. I wish somebody else told me this and made the mistakes and shared this information with me so I wouldn't have to make these same mistakes. Okay, lesson number 4. Lesson number 4 is that you should not use the time invested in something as a reason not to leave something. So there's this thing called the sunk cost fallacy, where basically people are like, oh, I've invested so much time, so much effort, so much money into this thing. Why would I leave it now? It's the same thing that happens with our jobs. Like some people go to law school and then they've been in law school they went through their undergrad 4 years. They went through law school 3 years. They did their articling. They wrote the bar. And then, is it wrote the bar? They got called to the bar. And then they're like, I don't even like law school. I mean, they're like, and then they're like, I don't even like being a lawyer. Like, it's not something that I enjoy. Why am I doing this? But they feel like they can't pivot into a new career because they've already invested all of those years into it. I'm here to tell you that the amount of years that you invested into something does not mean you have to be miserable for the rest of your life enduring said thing. And just to bring it back to relationships, if you have been in a relationship for 3 years, 4 years, and you're like, oh my God, or me, 5 years, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've invested 5 years into this relationship. I am not very happy anymore, but it's already been 5 years, and like, I'm getting older, and like, this is that, and I should really stay and try to make this work. If it's not working, girl, sis, bruv, whoever you are, you cannot force it. Forcing it is a recipe for disaster. And it's like, why should I, just because of these 5 years I've invested, I should now spend the next 50 years of my life in a situation that doesn't serve me. Like, honestly, it's just like leaving a job, like leaving anything. Y'all know, I believe in jobs. I believe in situations often. And this is no different. I have to tell myself that, okay, I know you've invested a long time in this, but you have the rest of your life. Should you be in a situation that's no longer serving you simply because you've invested 5 years into this? The answer is no. And again, I think especially as Nigerians, I can only speak for us, but the pressure for us to get married, and Christians as well, Nigerians and Christians, the pressure for us to get married is plenty. It's like when I turned 25, everyone started asking me, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? And honestly, the easier thing to do would have just been like, cool, I'm staying with this person. There's too much pressure. I'm stressed because all these aunties, I'm talking to you and I hope you're watching this, all these aunties are on my case, blah, blah, blah. The easier thing to do would have been to stay and maybe not be as happy as I am now, but stay and, deal with it. But I chose the harder route and I'm glad that I did. And again, I know if you're in the situation right now, I know it feels like, some people feel like it's a failure that, oh, I went through 5 years and it didn't result in marriage, or, oh, now I have to tell all my friends and family that we are no longer together. But again, I don't see it as a failure. Like, I really encourage you to reframe that. I like to reframe it. Instead of thinking that, oh, I invested 5 years into this relationship and now I have to leave and, oh, what are people going to say? Instead, think of it like this. I got 5 amazing years out of this relationship. It is no longer serving me. And now it is time for me to go. And I took so much knowledge. I was loved hard. I got so many great experiences from this. I met so many new people through this relationship. And although we're no longer together, it's not a regret. It's nothing bad. Now I just move on to the next thing. Of course, there are situations where things are bad. For example, if there was abuse in the relationship, things like that. That's not what we're speaking about. But if the relationship is no longer serving with you, don't look at it as a failure or anything negative. It's actually a positive that now you have all that experience and you can take that into your next relationship. So I hope that was helpful and affirming for somebody who needed to hear that. The last lesson that I learned is that you should not settle for somebody who does not love you the way that you want to be loved. And the fact that they don't love you the way you want to be loved it doesn't mean that they are a bad person. It just means that they are not your person. You know the saying that it's like, if he wanted to, he would. That saying, honestly, I feel like that saying is so true. And maybe being in a relationship for so long, you get used to things, it's comfortable. Maybe they're not doing all the things to woo you anymore and you're like, this is not exactly how I would want to be loved ideally, but whatever, I'm comfortable, I've been in it for a while, whatever. However, now that I'm on the other side of it and I'm being wined and dined, I'm like, bruh, if he wanted to, he would. Like, for real, if he wanted to, he would. I want to emphasize that if he or she or they wanted to, they would. Like, okay? If your love language is words of affirmation, for example, where you appreciate when someone is praising you and like singing words of affirmation into you and like uplifting you with their words, then why are you with somebody who does not speak, that's not their love language. That's not how they express love. Like, although maybe it can work, I feel like if you're not being loved the way that you want to be loved, sometimes you're just going to be miserable in that relationship. And I think it's better to leave than to be miserable in a relationship. I'm not telling you to be unreasonable or anything. I'm not saying you should be like, oh, I find love in being showered with Gucci purses every single day. I need a new purse every single day. Of course, that's a bit unrealistic. But then again, if that's your desire, there is a rich man that will or person that will spoil you the way you want to be spoiled. So I want to encourage you all to not settle in these relationships. And it's not to say that person is a bad person. They're not a bad person. They're just not your person. The person who loves you and who wants to be with you will find a way to speak your love language if they truly want to be with you. And I am a living testament to that. Like, words of affirmation, I love receiving them. Giving them, not so good. But if I'm dating someone who that's how they receive love, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Quality time. If that's what they need, I got you. Like, I But okay, again, it's because I love them that much that I'm willing to, and I'm able to be selfless enough to give them love in that way. But if someone does not truly love you, they probably won't be willing to compromise anything in order to give you that form of love. And again, they're not a bad person. They're just not your person. I also want to add that if you are not being loved the way you want to be loved, and you've communicated this to your partner, and they are not reciprocating or changing their ways in order to maybe meet your needs more, but you are not leaving because you feel as if there's nothing better out there for you, I want you to snap right out of it. That is like you're operating from a scarcity mindset, as if, and operating from a place of fear, as if there's no one who's going to be better for you. But babes, I promise you that when you open your heart up and you like start opening yourself up to all the possibilities and you have an abundance mindset, the person that is for you will come your way. So please, please, please don't operate from a place of lack. Operate from a place of abundance, and knowing that the universe is going to bring exactly what you need, and God is going to bring exactly the person that you need that is in line with His will for your life. One last, I know I said 5, but one last thing I just thought of is that I want you to love like an Oyibo babe, okay? If you see, okay, for those who don't know, by the way, Oyibo means like white people. And if you see white people, they love hard. You see a white girl who, who gets out of a relationship and then she's heartbroken for a bit, and then she starts dating again and gets into a new relationship. It's not healthy to jump from relationship to relationship, I will say that, but just the fact that they can bounce back from heartbreak, they don't let it destroy their whole life, because it's like, this person wasn't my person. Now, this person could be my person. Let me try again. So I want to encourage all of you to pick yourself up and try again. Love hard. Love lots. Obviously, guard your heart. Don't be just loving up on anybody, but give yourself a chance to experience love fully. Yeah. That was really off the cuff. I did not prepare that at all. So I hope this video was a help to any of you. Again, I do have a lot more. I actually wrote down like 15 lessons that I learned. So if you want 5 more lessons, you can let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is a very different kind of video on my channel. But again, if you want to see more of it, I need you to like this video ASAP. I need you to like it. I need you to tell me that you enjoy these types of videos. And yeah, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.